Assalamu alaikum. Before we continue our crash course on the history of Muslims in America, I wanted to take some time to address the critical question of why study history? Surely this question goes through the mind of pretty much every student at one point. These events happened decades, centuries, if not millennia ago. How are they relevant to me today? With regards to our topic, why does it matter if Muslims first came to the US in the 1950s and 60s, or if it was in fact the 16th, 14th, or possibly 12th century? So what? The short answer is we study history because it is relevant. You cannot understand the present without understanding the past. Events do not occur in a vacuum. People do not rise in a vacuum. Ideas do not rise in a vacuum. Context is everything. And a part of context is understanding what happened before and what led up to the subject or the event that we are studying. In our case, for example, among the questions of the 21st century are, what is Islam and who are Muslims? These are possibly the questions of the 20th century. These two questions have a particular context and a particular connotation, or else a simple dictionary answer would suffice, and little to no debate would be necessary. Islam is a religion. Muslims are those who practice Islam. Done. Of course not. These questions arose, among other reasons, due to the events of September the 11th, 2001. Many were confused and afraid, Muslims and non-Muslims, Americans and otherwise. Amidst the confusion, the fear, the hatred, and the violence, different camps arose. One of them maintaining that Muslims are foreign enemies, similar to the Germans and the Japanese during World War I and World War II, similar to the Russians and the Chinese, the socialists, the communists, etc. during the Cold War. Muslims are another foreign group that's aligned itself against us. They hate our country and our people. They hate our culture and our freedoms. We hear this one a lot. Islam is their ideology, and it's intrinsically violent, intolerant, and hateful. Conclusion, we must wipe them out before they do this to us, or before they cause any more damage to us. Let 9/11 be forever remembered as the largest attack on American soil, never again. Another camp arose that similarly felt confused, afraid, and angry, yet maintained that it was not as simple as camp number one is making out to be. The perpetrators were Muslim, yes, but that doesn't mean that we are at war with all Muslims. We're not at war with Islam. Among the second camp were scholars who pointed out that the conflict cannot possibly be between Americans and Muslims because simply there are millions of American Muslims. And there have been American Muslims before 9/11. In fact, there have been Muslims in what is now America before there was an America. One of the excellent books on this topic is called Thomas Jefferson's Quran, Islam and the Founders, and it's by Professor Denise Spellbrook. Yes, the founding fathers knew about Islam and Muslims. Thomas Jefferson, in fact, read the Quran, and his book had plenty of comments and annotations and still exists today. And the founders discussed the issue of religious liberty at length. More on this soon. From an Islamic perspective, possibly a third of the Quran consists of stories of individuals and peoples of the past. Allah asks us, have they not traveled throughout the earth and observed how those before them came to be? This is Surah Yusuf, chapter 12, verse 109. We're supposed to learn from past mistakes. Life is short, and we will soon be held accountable before Allah for all the decisions that we made. Part of wisdom is studying others' mistakes so that we don't repeat them ourselves. Hopefully you agree that our particular subject gives us excellent reasons to study history. And another great reason to study history is for the purpose of identity formation. And this is why history is usually taught at school. What makes an Egyptian Egyptian and a Brazilian Brazilian? National identities are formed by individuals seeing themselves, their families, their genealogies, and history as being linked to those around them. Those who teach history have a huge role in helping students form their views about themselves and their people. What are our values? Well, what did our ancestors go through? And how did they respond to challenges? How did they make decisions? What advice would they give us today? How were they successful or unsuccessful? How did they deal with others who don't share our identity? This is important to American Muslims, not just because our loyalty is in question, but also because we question ourselves. Do we belong here? My parents are Pakistani, but I was born and raised in New York City, for example. So what am I? The sooner we understand our roots, our identity, and our purpose, we can begin contributing meaningfully to our communities, to the wider society, and to humanity at large. And this is why we started this organization.